Welcome to Hero's Journey Physio Fitness. Our mission is to empower, inspire, and mentor people to reclaim their health and become self-reliant in their fitness. I'm your host, Dr. Cameron Hogue. Join with me as my co-host, Annabelle Rios.
All right, guys, we are going live in 3, 2, 1. How's it going, Cam?
I really thought you were going to count that down in Spanish, but Annabelle was saying we now have some viewers from other countries as well that might not speak. Well, I guess they have to speak English if they're listening.
They have to know.
But they might not know Spanish.
They may not know Spanish.
Anyway,
they at least know English and start listening to the show.
So wherever you guys are, you guys should subscribe to the podcast.
Yes.
Never
rate it.
Never miss an episode.
Never miss an episode.
Give it 5 stars if you'd like.
5 stars or above. Well, I guess it's only 5 stars.
But maybe in your mind you think it's above 5 stars.
Yes.
And in that case, leave a comment.
Leave a comment. Say it's the best podcast ever.
Ever. And guys, don't neglect social media either.
I know. Come on, guys.
We're just 2 brown boys trying to find our way in life. So give us some love. We'll give you some motivational quotes.
Yeah, every Monday, motivational quote.
Trying to get some more tips and tricks on there as well. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. So today is I think it's a good episode. We've talked about how to maintain weight loss for life. We've talked about do carbs make you fat, how to start your journey.
Right.
But we haven't gotten into any specifics. So today what we want to cover is how do you lose the first 10 pounds? But before we do that, there is something that I wrote for you guys that I want to read.
And this is, guys, Annabelle was telling me, he quoted this, and I was like, who said that? He's like, I came up with it. I'm like,
so it was me.
Dadgum. So we thought it'd be nice for Annabelle to read. Annabelle's a deep thinker, guys. Let me just tell you. He's a stoic at heart.
Yes,
so
deep thinker.
Just let these words penetrate your ears.
Okay, so gaining weight can sometimes happen unintentionally, but reversing it requires purposeful action and conscious effort. You can't stumble your way out of weight gain. It takes intentional steps and self-awareness to make a change in your life.
Man, when you read that the first time, I was like, how true is that, though, that some people are just feel like they can wake up and it's like, is the weight gone? They wake up the next day. Is the weight gone? They wake up the next day. And like they're thinking that they're just going to stumble to losing their first 10 pounds.
You can.
And
some people may.
It could happen.
It could happen.
But it's going to take some self-awareness and intentionality.
Because to lose weight, you have to make a change. And we've I think that's one of our motivational quotes one day is like, if nothing changes, nothing changes.
That's so true. And it's like, that's simple. So
boom, there you go.
Let's take them on this journey, Annabelle, on how to lose their first 10 pounds. What do you say?
I agree.
There are some key episodes. Again, plugs. Episode number 5, how to start your journey. And episode 22, 10 things we wish we knew when starting our health and fitness journey. Those might be some good setup episodes. So
to get you started.
If you haven't listened to those, maybe go give those a listen to before you continue with this. But if you want to listen to this first, those are good ones to listen to that will supplement this episode.
Just like Legion's Athletics can supplement you guys. Use Heroes for your 20% off.
Code Heroes.
Code Heroes.
And
there
that's
you go.
HEROES. There's no apostrophe in there. Those are the fake heroes. There's multiple of us.
Yes.
Okay. The first thing we want to talk about on your step to losing 10 pounds. This sounds stupid. Do you actually want to lose 10 pounds? Some people say that they want to, I just really want to lose weight. Oh, if I could just lose 10 pounds. But deep down, you don't want to. Yeah,
there's a lot of things in life, I would say, is do you want it or is it just kind of like a nice to have? Like, yeah, it would be nice if I had a six-pack, but is it something that you really care about?
Do you want it or do you not want it?
Exactly.
And only you can answer that, and you have to do some deep self-reflection right now. You got to think right now, am I saying I want to lose 10 pounds, but I actually don't? And if you don't want to actually lose 10 pounds, turn the podcast off.
Yeah, we don't want to waste your time.
Yeah, we don't want to waste your time. That came out really aggressive.
It did.
Sorry. We don't want to waste your time.
Essentially is, in this life, you're the pilot of your life. You get to pick what you want to do. If this is something you want to do, cool, great. But it has to come from you. It can't come from anybody else that's making you want to do this, because at the end of the day, it may not succeed long term.
All right.
So what's guiding your journey? So you got to sit down, think. We have a lot of the know thyself from one of our previous episodes. So some of the self-reflecting questions that you need to go through.
So let's just say you're the type that says, I want to lose 10 pounds and I actually want to lose 10 pounds.
It's like, I'm in, doc.
I'm in. What do we do? You got to start. You got to document where you're starting.
Absolutely.
If you don't know where, well, if you don't know where you started, you can't know like how far you've come.
I 100% agree. There's going to come a time in the future, guys, months from now, 2 months from now, a year, 2 years, and you've been on this journey. And I say this because let's say you have a lot of over 10 pounds to lose. It's going to be a long process. There's going to be times where you're like, it feels like I'm not making any progress at all. And it's in those instances where when you have these documentations, whether that's, I think you should do all these.
Yeah, what are some of the things they can do?
I think you need to take a progress picture of where you are now. You don't have to do it weekly, monthly, but just take at least one where you're starting right now. A lot of people are against weighing themselves. I get it. There's a lot of psychological things there, but at least do it once at the beginning. And I would also say take your measurements at least once.
What kind of measurements are you talking about?
Your waist, your chest,
arms,
thighs.
Like
just do it once.
Yeah.
And then fast forward when you're like, man, I'm not making any progress. I feel like, because maybe there's gonna be times where the number on the scale is not moving, etc.
Right.
You can look back and say, oh wow, but my body composition is different.
Yeah.
My clothes fit me better. I've actually gone down X amount of inches, so you are making progress.
Yeah.
So.
Because you could be gaining more muscle but losing more fat.
Exactly.
And the scale might not be changing. So it is good. I mean, we even saw the other day I was getting so for those of you who don't know, I've put on about 20 pounds of muscle the past couple of years.
It's a big boy now.
I'm not that big. Working on it. And sometimes I get a little discouraged because I'm trying to get up to like 195, 200 pounds. And I'm like, man, I'm just not making much progress anymore. And Annabelle goes, pull up that picture when you were biking. And I pull up this picture when I was doing a lot of cardio and biking. And I was like, this doesn't even look like me. I look totally different. And it was that little reminder that I was like, I have come a long way. And I can still go, longer. I can do more.
Yeah. We're so quick to forget where we started.
But I was like, man, I was just super skinny. Not that I'm much bigger now, but I'm at least 20 pounds bigger.
I was telling you, man, you have a chest and some nice shoulders now.
So anyway, I think Animal makes a good point. Document where you're starting. It's just going to help give you this boost along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Next, what you need to do is we need to look at some sustainable lifestyle changes.
Boo, everybody says that, but it's
know.
True, guys. So listen up.
Okay. So with this, there's a bunch of things, certain diets, regular exercise, habits in general. So the first thing, we've talked about this in the past. I feel like we say that all the time, but how many days can you consistently commit to in terms of your training?
Mm-hmm.
And then training does not have to be you go to the gym. Okay. We talked in the past, there's 4 buckets of training or kind of fitness in general.
Mm-hmm.
You have cardio training. You have like resistance training with weights, bands, whatever. You have flexibility and mobility type training, yoga, Pilates, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have sport, maybe pickleball, tennis, football, whatever phase of life you're in. Which one of those things can you consistently commit to and how many times?
Mm-hmm.
We have our principle that we've talked about. We're going to do a full episode on it called the 3-2-1 principle, where we have what we believe an ideal standard is at least 3 days of resistance training, at least 2 days of cardio, and getting 1 gram of 1 gram of protein per pound of desired body weight. It's the 3-2-1 principle. But this is just getting started, guys. So pick one that you know that you can consistently commit to, because that's going to be sustainable. After that, we want to start to build healthy habits. And you don't have to do all of them at once. Maybe you know where you are weakest at. Maybe you know you need to get more sleep and you need to go to bed earlier. You know who you are out there. Maybe you know you don't drink lots of water. And maybe you need to be shooting for getting half your body weight in ounces per day. Or some sort, maybe a quarter of your body weight in ounces of water per day. Maybe just
swapping out
maybe
a soda
just
for a water.
Yeah, or just trying to get a cup or 2 more of water in a day. You know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you want to get 10,000 steps. Whatever it might be, and you know who you are, start to incorporate some sort of healthy habit into your life that isn't necessarily diet or training specific.
Yes.
So we think those things are good places to start for sustainable lifestyle changes. Annabelle, what's another thing?
No, I absolutely agree. And then something that I think sometimes we do, but we don't always, is you got to get your house in order. And by that is, you need to prepare your home for everything that you're going to need on this journey. And then also setting a start date. So some of that might be, okay, do I need a food scale? Do I need a gym membership? Maybe you don't have a gym membership. If you don't have a home gym, guys, you're going to need a gym membership.
Right.
Okay? If you're picking running, let's say you're picking running or walking, maybe you need some shoes. What do you need to be ready? One thing I was thinking, as we're speaking on this, don't obsess over this, because some people get caught in this.
Analysis by paralysis. I need to have this before I can start.
Exactly. And then you never start. And then one of our mindsets we always say is start now.
Right.
Now is better than tomorrow. So don't get caught up, but just there are some basic things that you need to have.
Correct. And then say, I'm starting, well, we'd like to start today, but maybe you need a couple of days to get these supplies.
Exactly.
I'm starting Monday.
But even with that, you're starting to get the things ready now instead of...
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Anything else you want to add on that?
No, I think that's really good, because I'm the type that I need to get stuff ready before I start.
Oh, that's me, man.
Like I really, before I can start running this marathon, I need to get some good shoes.
And for me, I've wasted so much time in this part where it can also be not just physical things that I need to buy, but it can also be knowledge. Listen, I need to read this book and then this book before I can even start this. I'm learning how to run. There's like 3 books I want to read, and then I can start running.
Right.
Like, why don't you do both at the same time? Why don't you start running and read and get the knowledge?
Yeah.
With that, you're going to have a better comprehension of what you're actually reading anyways. So continue.
Okay. And then one of the last things for kind of the whole mindset prep and getting started with everything is, we mentioned it in the past, but we really like Dr. Peter Attia's framework for nutrition. We'll link it again in the episode. We talked some about it in a previous episode, but essentially it goes into like, how do you start? How do you go from the standard American diet to getting more healthy? And there's a few different routes. Like, you can explore how much you eat, maybe when you eat, and kind of what you eat. Those are all different ways that you can kind of start to tweak your diet and your nutrition. But we've already talked about that, so we're not going to go deep into there.
Yeah, we want to do a deep dive.
We'll link the video, or the video in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's get more practical here.
Yes.
So, kind of debated. Some people... Heavily debated. We're going to make a case for calorie counting, for tracking your calories, okay? And again, this is debated. Some people think this is the absolute best way and everything else is trash. And some people go, no, that's terrible. That's terrible. It's not sustainable, blah, blah, blah. So we're making a case for it. But guys, we're not stupid. We want to give you the pros and cons. So let's start with the cons.
We'll start with the con, but quick comment that we've always said.
Yeah.
And we said it in other episodes, and we'll say it again. Life is lived in the valley, not on the mountaintop. Meaning, you're not expected to count calories for the rest of your life. This is just to help you, and we'll get more into how it can help you. But we'll go some of the common remarks. Cam, what are some of the ones that people may say? Okay,
this one is, and these things are true too, right?
Yeah.
To some degree. One that you might say a con is it's time consuming. Tracking these calories, putting them in, a notebook or on an app is meticulous, and you have to constant, keeping record of everything. It can feel like it's burdensome. I'm too busy for this. Those are some things that people might, an objection. I don't want to do this because it's just super time consuming. And we'll go through all the cons. We don't want to talk about the pros just yet. So that's a con for some people. Annabelle, what's another one?
It's complicated, and it's not really accurate. And to an extent,
that's kind of true.
It's kind of true. You're not wrong. It can be complicated at first because you're learning a new skill. And we've talked about it in other episodes of reading food labels, but essentially you're trying to figure out like, well, how much am I eating? What's the portion? Is this even accurate? And then I don't want to get into it, but like we'll talk about it eventually. But then there's going out to eat. How is this? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
There is a lot of variables.
Especially since we are complex organisms and everyone is different and our metabolisms are different and
Oh yeah.
all that kind of stuff. And so people go, well, we're not even getting close to being able to calculate correctly. So why even bother tracking?
Even bother?
So that's another con. Okay. So this one can be a bad con is we're making it sound like you shouldn't calorie count, but we are going to make a case for it here in a minute. Is kind of stress and obsession. Some people, this can trigger feelings of anxiety, knowing that you have to track or worry about the numbers. And, this could be more for like body image and your kind of mental well-being and having an unhealthy relationship with food because you're constantly you're obsessing over the food and the tracking of it. That could be a potential con.
Yeah.
So,
and listen, we're making a case for it, but we also did say you can pick from 3 different approaches or combine multiple of the approaches that's listed above.
That does not does not track calories. Yeah.
We're making our case for it and why we think it could be beneficial. But we do want to be transparent and say there are some cons, and you know who you are. So some people say it lacks flexibility. You've kind of already mentioned it's kind of rigid. You're set to a certain number. You can't go above that number, et cetera, et cetera. We've also heard people say it's unsustainable long term, and I would say yes.
I mean, there are some people that still do it. They're in great shape, and they bring their food scales with them to restaurants. I've seen that, at least on like social media and stuff. And that's good for them. It's sustainable for them long term. I feel like for a lot of people, counting calories is not sustainable long term. So why even do it if you're not going to sustain it? Which we talked about earlier about creating sustainable habits.
Exactly. Yeah. And some people will say, well, you end up focusing on quantity over quality. For some, yes, but we don't recommend that.
True. Like, I can still eat. If I have 2,000 calories, I can eat McDonald's the whole meal as long as I'm under 2,000 calories.
Yep, and it's true.
Technically, you could, and you would lose weight. But it'll mess you up, mess your gut up, mess your hormones up, mess your... I honestly think that fast food, I think we talked about this in the past, that it can... give people the feelings of stress and anxiety.
Oh yeah.
And like mental clarity. It can start to fog those things.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of talked about this, that obsessive behavior.
Yeah.
It could be obsessive in like a technically a bad way where it's unhealthy, or obsessive where like you're more concerned with like, I am looking good, and now like I've got my body image is wrong in the opposite direction. Where like I'm trying, like even if I gain half a pound, then then something's off and my tracking's off, and stuff like that. But
so, is there even any pros to this? There is.
Why should we track Hannibal?
There's a lot of pros when we were looking at this and from our personal experience, but we just wanted to highlight some of the main ones. Everybody talks about intuitive eating. And mindful eating.
Yeah. Just eat to your full, eat to your satisfied, not full.
And I agree with that. But I think the process of getting there is different.
Yes.
I don't think people naturally wake up and are intuitive.
No.
How do intuition is interesting. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but essentially is if you don't know how much you're eating or how much something is, I guess how many calories they may have, you could be overeating and not even know.
Yeah.
So,
well, we have a client right now who we're coaching, and like one of the first things he said to us was, guys, until I started tracking, I did not know how much carbs and junk food I was eating, and how many calories and how much protein I was under consuming. Like, I just didn't know. Like, I would just kind of eat whatever I want, and I had no idea that I was overeating and like not getting the amount of like macro and micronutrients that I needed. Like, I just was unaware. And he's a smart dude.
Yeah.
You know?
So how was he going to be intuitive eating properly if he didn't know? How are you don't know. You can't.
And again, this episode is how to lose the first 10 pounds.
Yes.
You can't lose the first 10 pounds without having some sort of awareness of what you're eating.
You can't wonder your way out, man.
So I think that in and of itself could trump all the other things that we just talked about in terms of the cons.
I think this long term is going to help you. You're going to have the awareness now. You can say, okay, oh, that's X amount of calories.
Yeah, but without tracking at first, you will not have that awareness in the future when you don't track to know what things are.
Oh, here's one that I hear a lot. It's like, man, I only eat this. I think I'm eating. You think you're eating healthy, but you may not be.
Yes.
Because you don't know. I was the same way. For a while, like I said, I've done so many different diets, man. I don't want to get into it. But there was one time where I did calorie track for a little bit, and then I kind of stopped a long time ago. But then you fast forward and you do all these other diets, and you're like, man, I don't know why I stopped losing weight doing insert name, keto, paleo, whatever, vegan. Because you don't understand why it's working. And it's kind of why we want to get into this is
that energy balance.
The energy balance is that calories in versus calories out. And that's why a lot of these diets work. We've talked about it in the past, but you may not know that. You think it's a food, and yes, certain foods have more calories and they don't fill you up as much. Yes, I do agree, but it's a little bit more than that.
We had another client, and we went through his diet, like what he ate on like an average day, and he was like, I'm doing CrossFit 6 times a week. I think I'm eating healthy, and I'm not losing any weight.
And he was in shape.
Like I'm not saying that he wasn't in shape, but he still wanted to lose like 20 pounds. And we went through his day, and we calculated all of his calories, because he was saying like I could just like look at food and I gain weight. How many times have you heard that one? I just look at food and I gain weight. And we realized, we calculated it all up, he was overeating, but he didn't know it because he wasn't tracking it. And you just think like, well, this sandwich, a sandwich is pretty healthy, and you realize, oh, I put peanut butter on it and honey, and then I actually had 2 of them, and that bag of chips was 300 calories, and I used some sauce on this, and then you're over 1,000 calories for something that could have been like 400 calories.
Or people say, I'm only eating like 2 meals a day, but they're drinking all these sodas and they're drinking their calories away.
Yeah.
There's all these little things, but you won't know that.
Well, my daily Starbucks Frappuccino Mocha Latte is 500 calories.
But I only ate like a small salad.
Yeah, all I had was a salad for lunch and this for dinner, but you had 2 iced coffees, a soda, and...
I don't know why I'm not losing weight.
So this gives you a good understanding of energy balance. If you eat more calories, if you have quote-unquote more energy, the body's going to store it in reserves as fat. If you undereat, so you're not getting enough energy from food, your body's going to pull from your fat storage or the remaining like glycogen in your muscles to burn for energy, so you stay at baseline. Your body's always trying to stay at homeostasis, that state of being in balance. So if you don't understand that, then you won't understand if you're overeating, why you're gaining weight and all that stuff. But you got to track to know.
You do.
What's another one? What's another pro?
Another pro for me is that you're able to personalize it, meaning... I don't want to get into the macros, but there's macros. So, protein, carbs, fat. Depending on what you're trying to do, you can adjust it. One of the things that I hear people say all the time, I was one of them. I hate doing diets because I'm always hungry. Well, guess what? Let's give you more protein. Boom. You're going to be more full, so you're not going to feel as hungry.
Right.
You're able to personalize it to whatever your goal is and what you're trying to do.
Right. You're trying to gain weight, trying to lose weight, trying to stay the same, In this episode, we're talking about losing weight. But with that, though, we did talk about it being inaccurate. And there was a catch there on that one. That is like on the micro level. Like, yes, of course, we can't know for sure what someone's actual with 100% certainty their baseline calories are in order to go. But
we can get pretty dang close.
You can get pretty close, and then all you got to do is look at the scale. You eat at baseline. Did you gain weight? Did you lose weight? Okay, you stayed the same. Okay, drop 500 calories. Oh, the next week you lost a pound. Okay. We're pretty close then.
We're really close.
We're pretty close. And these are rough estimates. But again, these rough estimates are getting you in the ballpark where you actually have some sort of awareness and you're not just shooting from the hip, at least for now.
Yeah, I mean, they get you really close to the point where like you said, take a whole week. For 1 week, track all your food at maintenance, and you'll get pretty close. So.
Another thing this does, the tracking, is it does give you a form of accountability.
Yes.
Accountability is huge because you have to log what you're eating. And sometimes you're like, well, shoot, should I really eat this if I have to log this? Like, then how many calories do I get? I don't know. You're kind of almost bargaining with yourself or trying to see like like with finances, like, well, if I put a little bit of money here and then put a little bit of money there, and what's my profit going to be, or am I going to have a loss? And you can keep yourself accountable through tracking.
No, I think it's good. You keep yourself on track. It's like a budget.
So you are going to need some sort of way to track. You can do a pen and paper if you want.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, an Excel spreadsheet if you want, but there are apps.
There's a lot of apps. I think there's like one of the most popular ones that I'm sure everybody's heard of, MyFitnessPal. There's another one that I personally use. No plug-in, just what I use. It's because it's a simple layout. It's LifeSum, but there's plenty of them.
LifeSum?
LifeSum.
Like LIFE sum?
Like the word life and then sum, like you're adding something out.
Okay.
Summing it up.
Gotcha. Guys, MyFitnessPal is not what I thought. It's not what it used to be. Now you have to pay for it, and I'm not happy with that.
Yeah, they're really trying to push you to pay, right? The premium subscription.
Yeah. We coach people. You can always reach out, and with the software that we have with training, there's a way that you can calculate all that stuff through the app that we have.
Yeah.
So always reach out to us about that if you want to be trained.
For sure. Find an app that works for you.
Yep. Okay. Now, I think we made a case for why you should track your calories, at least to lose the first 10 pounds.
Yeah, like we said, you're not going to be doing this for the rest of your life. No, it's only for a little bit.
It's to get you on top of the mountain and then off the mountain, and then you can sustain in the valley. You can lose the weight that you want and keep that weight loss after. Okay, so what do we do to actually lose the weight? Okay. Couple episodes we want to give to your attention. Episode number 17, Do Carbs Make You Fat? And episode number 26, How to Read Food Labels. Those will be very beneficial to knowing what we're going to talk about. So the first week, start tracking. I don't care if you are gaining weight, losing weight, or staying the same, but you need to start tracking.
I think I told you about this study, right? I can't remember the name of the study, where they had a group of people, and all they told them is, just write. This is a bit further back, because I think they gave them like a physical notebook, and they say, just write down what you're eating. Like I said, like kind of like we're saying, don't care if you're losing or gaining. I don't care what you're eating, guys. You can keep eating the McDonald's or whatever it is. People are naturally gonna start making changes to their lifestyle and their diet, because guess what, guys? It's bringing awareness. When you start writing it down, you're like, man, I didn't realize.
I didn't know I had McDonald's twice today.
I didn't realize that I had 3 cookies in between lunch. You forget a lot of these sayings that you're doing throughout the day.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
So
we just want you to track. We don't care how you do it or what that number ends up being.
Or what you're eating,
just start tracking. Now that you've tracked and you're starting to get the hang of it, we need to start to set your daily calorie goal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that first week, hopefully you ate and you kind of saw that maybe you stayed the same weight-wise. And that would probably be about your maintenance calories, meaning if you ate like that the rest of your life, you will most likely stay close to the same weight. I mean, our metabolism does start to slow a little bit as we get older. That is true. But you should stay roughly the same weight if you eat roughly at your maintenance. So we need to set a goal. And if you're trying to lose weight, we need to be in a little bit of a deficit. So for numbers purposes, we're going to say that maintenance was 2,000 calories. We're going to say that. Mm-hmm. You need to be at about a 500 calorie deficit per day to lose about 1 pound a week. That is the most reliable way and safest way to start to lose weight. Now, you could do 1,000 calorie deficit a day, but let me tell you guys, if your 2,000 was your maintenance and you're going to only eat 1,000 calories, honestly, that's like 2 bowls of ice cream is 1,000 calories. So
even if you're just eating,
it's not going to be sustainable for some of you guys.
No.
Yeah. So we don't recommend that extreme weight loss.
Would you say at minimum, or I guess don't go below 1,500?
Oh, man. Well, it depends on, if you're a very small female versus a very large male, that's gonna
True.
change how many calories you can eat. But I would say
in general,
500 calories per day would be, I think, probably going on more of what we would feel the most comfortable, unless you have an extreme amount of weight loss to lose.
True.
If you're a big boy, you maybe need to cut it 1,000. Like if you're a 300-pound male, like your maintenance baseline is going to be a lot higher.
Yes.
You can probably cut 1,000 calories.
Let's say your maintenance is 3,000 or even maybe 4,000.
Yeah, because you're a big boy.
I don't know, guys. I'm a big boy.
So, but you could be a more sustainable way too is to go about 200 to 300 calories maintenance or below a day, and honestly, that'll probably keep you a little more full. It'll be a little slower progress, but you will still lose the weight. Mm-hmm. So create that calorie deficit. We're going to recommend 200 to 500 calorie deficit a day. All right, what's the next thing we need to do, Annabelle?
So people always say, you're just going to eat terrible if you do calorie counting and blah, blah, blah. Yes, but it doesn't have to be. We think you need to be eating a balanced diet. So what do we mean by that? Check out the how to read food labels because we already kind of covered that a little bit. But we want a balanced diet of primarily whole foods, which is just if it doesn't have a label or has very little items on the back of a label, you should be good.
Right.
You want that to be 80% of what you're eating. And then the last 20% can be whatever you want.
Yeah.
Still focusing on quality.
Mm-hmm.
And then also remaining within whatever your caloric goal is.
Correct. I think we said in the past, but if you stay around the perimeter of the grocery store, you'll probably be in pretty good shape. It'll keep you in the produce. It'll keep you in the meats and the dairy and all that kind of stuff. And it'll keep you out of the process, a lot of the more highly processed or ultra processed foods in the middle.
Mm-hmm. What's the next one, Doc?
Guys, this is important. If you're a male, you need to be shooting for at least 1 gram of protein per desired body weight. So if you're 200 pounds, you want to be 150 or 180 pounds. Wait, hold on. My math is horrible. 10 pounds. 190 pounds, you'll shoot for 190 grams of protein. If you're a female, you want to shoot for around 0.7 grams a day, something like that, or per desired body weight. So 1 gram for males, maybe about 0.7 grams for females. And that, number one, will keep you full, but is also going to help preserve and or build muscle if you're a newbie while you lose the weight. And that's what we like.
Oh, guys, I know we say pick your different activity, whether it's sports or something. This is in my opinion, this is the prime opportunity to get strong and lose weight. This is a short period of time where you can actually do both at the same time, in my opinion. A lot of people argue and say, you can still do it once you're fit. Maybe not.
It is pretty proven for beginners, though, that you can build muscle and lose fat.
But for beginners, you can do both. Take advantage of that.
That's true. What's another one, Annabelle?
Oh, this one gets everyone, especially once you first start counting. Hitting calories. You're like, well, what do you mean hitting calories? Are they just hiding it somewhere and then just sneak up on me? No. But the thing is, there's a lot of things that you don't count for. Sauces.
Yeah.
Condiments. Oils. Guess what? They have calories.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, they have calories.
And they make them taste good.
Make them taste real good. You put a lot of that mayo, ketchup, mustard, add this, add that. To your sandwich that you thought was really healthy. I'm not saying
Chick-fil-A sauce, you know?
Oh, so good. I'm not saying it's unhealthy, but I'm saying it adds up.
So what would you recommend, or what would you say is kind of the average hitting calories when you go out to eat, Annabelle?
Oh, man. So when you go to, I'll say fast food because most of them have their nutrition content.
More restaurants are doing that now too, though.
Yeah, more restaurants are doing it. That's true. I would say you could add 200 to 300 calories to whatever they're listing.
Okay.
Because they're not always considering all the things we mentioned. Right.
So what he means, what he means by that is, let's say that Chick-fil-A sandwich it says it's 500 calories. You're like, okay, I'm 500. What we're saying is it's probably 700 to 800 calories, not 500. Mm-hmm. They usually post the minimal, and they don't take into account all that, like Annabelle said, the oils, and then you're going to dip it in the sauce and stuff like that. So we would recommend adding 200 to 300 calories on top of whatever restaurant says that calorie is. Yeah. Total is. So. And again, maybe at first, don't worry about it.
once you can get into the nuances of it later. You start tracking, you start just tracking whatever, and then you start focusing on your actual calories, and then slowly add this into the mix.
Yeah. So a good example is, let's say you eat out 3 times a week and you're like not too concerned with what you eat. It's in that 20% that Animal talked about, not the 80%. And you're tracking religiously and you're like, I should be losing a pound, but I'm not. And it's like, well, maybe it's the hidden calories when you're going out to eat. You're not tracking the 300 calories that are actually extra in it, which ends up to be 900 calories if you go out 3 times. So that kind of thing.
Oh, and then we'll say Chipotle, because I go to Chipotle.
Yeah.
Let's say, you get the serving size are going to vary too. One day you're just going out to eat, but then you have your buddy back there that you've made friends with, and then he gives you a little extra scoop.
Gives you a little bit extra.
It's a protein more than normal. Wink, wink. Thank you, man. The calories are going to go up.
Right.
So that's what we also talk about, hitting calories.
A little bit more sour cream action.
Oh, sour cream. Thank you, sir.
But yeah, these are real things, so you got to pay attention to that.
Mm-hmm.
So we did an episode, so we're not going to belabor this one. You need to read food labels.
Yes.
At least at first.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these apps, you can scan the barcode and it'll upload it for you. But in general, though, you need to be able to look at the back and see how much sugar is in it, all the things we talked about, what's the serving size, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Measure and weighing your food, okay?
Oh, what?
I know. So a lot of times these apps are saying, yeah, this is this many calories for 8 ounces of chicken. Well, how do you know how much 8 ounces of chicken is if you're not weighing it or measuring it? There is the whole how big your fist is type thing.
But let's say you got a big old fist.
That's true. So sometimes if you don't want to bring your scale and stuff like that, maybe there's like a chart or something we can put in the description.
Yeah, where you can eyeball it. But if at first, like we've talked about, you start tracking, you start weighing, then you'll have a better sense of being able to eyeball it. And so like, well, 8 ounces for me, it's like half my fist. Because, I don't know, maybe you have a big old palm. I don't know.
Got bear palm.
Bear palms. You'll be able to gauge it a little bit better.
Yeah. So at first, you need to weigh some things and measure how much is a cup of rice, all that kind of stuff.
I know, it's boring, but you got to put in the work, guys.
Yeah. So we believe if you start doing those things, you will lose 10 pounds. Now, I'm not going to say easily, but simply. It makes it simple.
It's simple to understand, but it's hard to do.
Yes. And the big thing with all this, we're going to sum it up with staying consistent. You can't track Monday through Friday and don't track the weekends. You can't track for 2 weeks and then not the next 2 weeks, and then track for 2 weeks and then not the next week. You have to stay consistent. You have to keep adding up those hidden calories. You have to read the food label. You have to weigh your food. You have to track your weight. You just, for now, to lose those first 10 pounds, that's what it's going to have to take. It's not working for you right now. This will help you do it. So we want you to stay consistent.
It will.
We want you to stay consistent with it. Now, if you follow that advice of the 500 calories, 1 pound a day, in about 2 months, you'll be 10 pounds lighter. Because that first week, you might lose a little bit more than 1. Some of it might be a little water weight. But
it also depends how much you have to lose.
Yeah.
If you only have like a few pounds to lose, it may take you a little bit longer than 2 months.
Right. If this is your last 10 pounds to lose, it might be a little bit longer. But if this is your first 10 pounds, they might go, honestly, even at that 500 calories and you start moving, drinking water, it might be a month you lose the 10 pounds. But realistically, if we tracked at that 1 pound a week, about 2 months, you'll be 10 pounds lighter. So we guarantee this will work if you follow it.
If you do it.
Yeah, if you do it. So in conclusion, guys, weight and losing weight can be challenging, not just physically challenging, but emotionally too. And we understand that. And we know that there are things that are tied into food and your weight and how you want to present yourself to the world. So
yeah, and we have an episode that we talked about that, how to manage, or what's it called?
How to sustain weight loss for life.
For life.
I was like,
for life. Yes, that one.
But it is possible. You can do it. And I think just knowing that it's possible is a good thing to kind of keep in your mind, because sometimes it seems impossible. So try some of these tips and tricks that we just talked about. And guys, we are always here to help. You can always reach out to us via email, social media. If you want to get trained by us, let us know. We'll help you on this journey.
Yeah. Start tracking, guys.
Start tracking. Annabelle, anything else?
I think that's all I got. What are you?
Just everybody remember that you are human. We should not seek perfection, but daily improvement.
All right. See you guys.
All right. Bye.